From the heart comes a warning filled with bloody good cheer. Remember what happened as the 14th draws near. It can't be happening again. It can't be happening.
This is the emergency podcast system. This is not a test. Movies are bombing all over the country. They are posing as movies you already know. They may already be in your theaters, your neighbor's home, or even your own. Do not panic. Specialists have been dispatched. They will help you identify these pretenders and defend you against this invasion of the remake. Please stand by for further instructions.
Welcome to the Invasion of the Remake podcast. I am your host, Jason Bishop, and with me today, as always, is Trish Coughlin.
Hey, everybody.
And Sam Stepanenko.
That would be me.
Happy fucking Valentine's Day soonish.
Yes.
Around this time.
Well, right now, Chinese New Year.
Yes. It's actually technically still January when we're recording this, but we like to get a little bit ahead, and all hell broke loose this week in politics. And
we're not going to talk about that because we already got it out of our system.
Yeah, we got it out of our system before the show, but it may have buried some news from this week. We lost television icon Mary Tyler Moore.
Yes.
And just a bright lady in business and in television, and every time I saw her on television, you just, this big smile on your face. She was really good talent, and we'll miss her. She made it to 80 years old. And, of course, John Hurt also passed away this week, and I think that did get buried under the Trump stuff. So, his career in film is huge. A lot of people might know him more recently from his stint as the War Doctor on Doctor Who, but he goes back to Alien. He was the first victim of the alien with the chest burster. The Elephant Man.
Yes.
1984.
1984, and a little more contemporarily, he was also in V for Vendetta, a very similar themed movie.
Exactly.
So and he worked right up to his death. He, in fact, still has a movie yet to come out this year. So he was constantly working this whole time, which is really credit to him for a guy who was going through cancer treatments from 2015, and it was going very well. But when you're in your 70s, that does take a toll. And it was just 3 days past his 77th birthday,
and it can happen. I've had it happen. Somebody in the middle of a treatment just.
Yeah, it's just exhausting on a body, and it takes its toll. So,
but what a body of work!
Great body of work, great legacy, and both talents will live immortally on film and television archives. So,
I know.
Mary Tyler after this podcast, I might watch Alien.
I might watch a little bit of Mary Tyler Moore.
After I edit the episode.
Or Flirting with Disaster, which she was also in, which was
good. No, the bodies of works were fairly large, although Mary Tyler Moore enjoyed her retirement later on. We didn't see too much of her in the last 15 or so years. So, but on to happier news. Valentine's Day, love is in the air, and we will celebrate that the best way we know how, with slaughter and death.
Well, that's usually how I celebrate every Valentine's Day.
It is a bit of a horror movie thing for me, too. Like, it's a bit of a tradition to watch horror movies on Valentine's Day.
Get drunk and watch horror movies, because here's the thing. There's always that rule that people who are, getting it on get killed first. So, really, if you're not into love, they're the perfect movies.
That's right. Remember, people, vice precedes slice and dice.
Yes.
So.
Thrice.
With nice, I don't know. We were trying the whole rhyming thing, and I just
you guys weren't supposed to pick up on it, but that's fine.
Yeah, vice and slice and dice is nice.
And I mean, the original movie certainly follows a lot of those tropes. The first movie was 1981, a year after Friday the 13th, and a year before the sequel to it. Story concept was by Stephen A. Miller. Screenplay was written by John Beard and directed by George Mihalka. Filmed in Canada.
Yes,
Nova Scotia.
At the City Mines of Nova Scotia. Budgeted at $2.3 million Canadian.
Yep.
With a box office of around $6 million.
Not bad.
So did all right, especially for, it is actually probably a little bit of a higher budget horror movie. I'd like to say low budget, but there's a lot of gore in this movie.
Well,
Starring...
that was at the heyday of that Canadian horror movie over the border.
Let's say it. Canadian carpetbaggers taking a very popular genre and just let's pick a holiday that hasn't been used yet because we've already had Christmas with Black Christmas, and that was Canada. Go back to listen to that episode.
Yes,
and because we've done it, and then there was Friday the 13th and Halloween. So now
And Mother's Day was coming up soon.
Yeah,
don't forget that one.
Mother's Day hadn't happened yet, but by that point they were scrambling for days. It's like April Fool's Day.
It's like the horror movies are doing what Gary Marshall is doing with holidays now. Is what horror movies were supposed to do.
The horrible things that happen on Arbor Day.
Oh, all the tree carnage! No.
Oh wait, that was The Happening. Fuck that movie.
And Evil Dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ugh.
That didn't happen on Arbor Day. Maybe it did. Ooh, rapey tree.
Disturbing.
Starring a bunch of people you've never heard of. Paul Kelman, Laurie Hallier, Neil Affleck. I don't think any...
I was wondering myself.
No relation. I actually looked because I was wondering.
Keith Knight and Peter Cowper.
Oh, Cynthia Dale?
And Cynthia... Oh, there's plenty of people in this movie. Alf Humphreys, Cynthia Dale, Helene Udy, Rob Stein, Thomas Kovacs, and the list goes on and on. And most of them went on to some pretty big things. I mean, Alf Humphreys was probably one of the more known faces in there as Howard. He was in the second X-Men movie, First Blood, Final Destination 2. Neil Affleck is the one that's kind of really interesting to me because his body of work is mainly in animation for The Simpsons.
Oh, wow.
He's an animator over on The Simpsons.
Nice.
Well,
so pretty cool. And he was Axel. He was one of the main characters.
Exactly. And Cynthia Dale, huge Canadian actress.
Yeah.
She had, I remember her from Street Legal. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, oh my God, that's Cynthia Dale.
Oh, come on. Keith Knight. Meatballs.
Yep.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that.
Yeah, Helene Udy.
I was trying to place him.
Helene Udy, she was Dead Zone.
Yes, that was where she was from.
Yeah,
She looked familiar, too.
And Cynthia Dale, I mean, she was in Moonstruck, so that was a big one as well. The remake, My Bloody Valentine 3D, 2009, screenplay by Todd Farmer of Drive Angry, Jason X, and The Messengers. He was also Frank the Trucker in the movie.
Oh, nice.
Also co-written with Zane Smith. Pretty much his only screen credit, really.
Oh, wow.
Directed by Patrick Lussier, and again, director of Drive Angry, the Dracula 2000 franchise.
Nice.
So, whatever those were fucking called. Prophecy 3, and he wrote Terminator Genesis. Starring Jensen Ackles in his rare appearance outside of the purgatory of Supernatural. Trying to become a film star, and actually the same year, the other Winchester, Jared Padalecki.
Yes.
Friday the 13th.
Was in the Friday the 13th remake, which we will talk about in the future, and both were huge successes, and they never had to go back to television. In another reality.
I know. Well, it's weird. It's like, okay, so, I want to get away from this TV show. I just want to do something completely different. Oh, I know. A horror movie remake.
Let's go to Supernatural.
A horror movie remake. Right? Not an original horror movie, but a remake.
In the same year, they both did it. And I think both movies were just full of fucking Dawson's Creek's rejects.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that actually brings up one of the things that I really liked about the original, is that it wasn't a bunch of pretty young people. These are people who were in their late 20s, early 30s. Mm-hmm. None of them were particularly really good looking. They were
attractive. Well, the blonde girl, she was stunning.
I would have totally gone for Sarah. Laurie Hallier is gorgeous.
As a rule, yeah. I mean, like I said, not everybody can be average, but
Yeah, and Axel wasn't unattractive. There was a redheaded guy on the original where I'm like going, okay, he's different looking, but I get it.
Yeah, but they weren't like typical Hollywood. They were definitely unconventionally good looking people.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, maybe that's why I liked a lot of them. I'm like, oh, like that's the Canadian hotness I'm looking for.
I'm not complaining. Like I said, I liked that about it.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Remake. Like I said, Jensen Ackles, Jaime King, Kerr Smith, Betsy Rue. And list goes on and on. Richard John Walters was Harry Warden. That movie was budgeted at $15 million and grossed $53.5 million in the U.S.
Really?
So did actually okay, pretty good. Both movies didn't do spectacular, but did decent numbers for what they were. And My Bloody Valentine was one of the first to really adopt the real 3D stuff. I had seen that movie in the theaters, and the crazy over-the-top 3D was the only thing that really entertained me at the time.
like that was the one thing. I think that's the reason I actually didn't go see it, because I'd seen so many 3D movies where you're like, oh yeah, they'll just shoehorn in something that's coming at you. But in this movie, actually they don't do it too badly. Like when it comes at you, it sort of sometimes makes sense.
Well, they do, and it is meant to be a jump scare for the audience and try to pull in that. But they really is jabbing shit at the camera.
Yeah.
It's so blatantly, although when the jaw goes flying at you, that was pretty cool.
That's kind of fun. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I did like that.
Yeah, there were a few moments where there was the body parts coming flying at you, which was which was kind of lost its effect when you're watching it in.
Yeah, when I rewatch this, I'm watching it 2D, but I do recall seeing it in 3D and all of that stuff being thoroughly entertaining at the time, with what I thought was a pretty dumb plot. And now that I've seen the original for the first time for this show, they're both dumb.
Oh yeah,
but entertaining. In fact, the original My Bloody Valentine is Quentin Tarantino's favorite slasher movie.
but like it takes place in a mine, and this is like our second movie with a mine in it.
It's weird how we unintentionally do this kind of shit.
But to be fair, like for a slasher, I can't think of any other ones that take place like in a mine.
No,
tons of camps.
You would think that'd be fairly expensive to do because they're shooting in a real mine. It's over 2,000 feet below ground, so trying to get the cast and crew and your equipment down to where it needs to be safely is probably going to take over an hour to do. And lighting is going to be tricky because you don't want to maybe set off some methane that might be lurking around down there as well. So it's all got to be very carefully measured and whatnot. And this was, before cooler LED lights and things like that, which still haven't really been adopted by the film industry. So those things run pretty hot.
Yeah, and I mean, neither movie had a lot of scenes in the mines, fortunately. Yeah. And usually they were small set, like they were 2 or 3 cast members and then the crew, right? Well,
no, the first movie, basically like the last half, they're in the mine.
Yeah, they're in the mine.
Yeah, there's quite a bit in there.
But the remake, not so much in the mine.
No,
at all.
I got a feeling even when the mine scenes is fairly close to the surface, but they are deep down in those mines in the Princess. I can't remember exactly what they're called, Princess something mines in Nova Scotia. In fact, when they chose that, they chose it for its rustic kind of look, and then the townspeople, when they found out, because the mines have been closed since 1975, when they found out a movie was going to be shot there, they went and cleaned it up.
Oh, nice.
No. They took away all that atmosphere that the guys wanted. So
I know.
They had to spend another $80,000 to make it all rustic looking again.
But I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Isn't that like a delightful Canadian thing? Oh, well, let's just clean up. Let's tidy for the camera crew who's going to be filming in our mines.
And then they show up going, well, fuck. They took away everything we liked about it.
We're like,
but we can't even be mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was a nice gesture.
They cleaned it for us? Yeah, we did.
That's so Canadian.
We wanted it to be pretty for you. We bled the lines. We got the methane out. We tidied up.
We repainted.
Can't have you shooting in a dirty mine.
By the way, what were they mining for exactly?
Coal.
I mean, They look like coal mines, but they never say.
No.
We know because it kind of looks like a coal mine.
Yeah, I think you're supposed to infer it from the way they look. Because neither movie really tells you that it's...
No, they don't.
I don't know. It's largely coal in those towns that they built up around mines.
Yeah, the Hennigan mines. Now,
I don't know if any towns built up on diamond mines.
Did you guys notice the day, like, the Valentine's Day specifically, what day it actually was?
No, I
Friday the
didn't know.
13th?
No, it was,
No, there was Friday the 13th. That was the Friday.
it was Saturday the 14th,
Saturday
meaning
the
the
14th.
day before was also a shitty day.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I did notice that. That's why I was confused. I'm
I
like,
direct response to Friday the 13th.
Yeah, of course.
And both movies do it,
yeah.
which I thought was kind of cool. There's some like posters on the walls and things that have the dates. So
Oh, you just totally reminded me of a horror parody called Saturday the 14th.
there was, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to watch that.
Yes.
Actually, after I finished watching the second one, I'm like, I only got to about season 5 on Supernatural. It's on Netflix now. I should start watching it. I got a couple in going, how's this still going at 12 years later?
Wait, how
And
long
they're
has it been going?
12 seasons this year, and they're coming back for a 13th and probably a 14th. I don't know anymore. Like I said, trapped in purgatory.
How old are Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki? They're younger than me, so they would. How young did they start?
I don't know. I mean,
Supernatural.
these guys came off of things like...
Well, Jared Padalecki was Gilmore Girls.
and-
Jensen Ackles,
They're both, yeah.
a while ago, was on Days of Our Lives, I think.
Well, he'd been on Dawson's Creek as well.
Yeah.
So, in fact, 2 of the cast members were in Dawson's Creek, Jensen Ackles and Kerr Smith.
Kerr Smith, yeah.
See, I remember him from like other things other than Supernatural. That's what I.
Yeah, well, I think he was also on Smallville for a short period. I think they're just CW children that, I don't know, CW has something on them. Warner in general, they're just Warner-raised zygotes.
CW has a chip in them, and they just have to do whatever they say.
That's right.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe CW is like got this sort of contract system.
There's something about job security,
like the
I
old,
guess.
Yeah.
the old, like in the 50s and so, when they signed
Oh,
the
yeah.
contracts and they're stuck in them, and but it's unspoken. Nobody talks about these contracts,
No.
but Jensen Ackles on a casting couch somewhere once a year, kind of thing.
Just as they film Supernatural and then put him in his cage for the night. The poor guy. I'm like, free. Okay, that's it. This is our protest podcast. Free Jensen Ackles.
for a show that was perpetually being canceled. For
Like
its,
perpetual, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, even the showrunners, I didn't think had plans past season 5.
Well, there was like at one point, didn't one of them went to, like, one of them died?
They
and then
both died.
Well, they both have died.
And
They
gone to
both
hell, yeah.
died, and then like because they thought, oh, we're going to be canceled, and then they're like, oh, we're renewed. Damn.
Now we have to figure out a way to bring him back. Yeah, and yeah, you know what? They may be tired of doing it, but at the same time, it's a steady paycheck.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it's about feeding the family. So.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And there are a lot of fans of Supernatural out there. If anything, I
Oh,
think
for
the
sure.
show's gotten more popular than faded away. It's kind of the Fast and the Furious rule where people kind of make jokes about, oh, they're making another one, but the thing
Yeah.
always does even more money the next time it comes out. So.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? I haven't seen it since, so I think about season 6. So you know what? Maybe it's getting really interesting after.
I always liked it. I was, like I said, I got to about season 5 and really quite dug it. And after a series of movies, I just kind of lost track of it. But
Oh, yeah, that's what
I
happens.
can't believe it's been 6-7 years since I last picked it
Well,
up.
I've had that happen with shows that I've really loved, but like I've just sort of lost track of them. Like they might change a time slot, or they might go somewhere, or I just haven't heard from it in a while and think it's canceled. I think Supernatural was one of those shows.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people who love it look for it and are devoted to it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, you know what? Let's run the trailer for My Bloody Valentine 1981, and we will really start sinking our teeth into this.
We'll have to get back on topic.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
It's a bad time, this time of year.
How many times is he going to tell this story?
Oh, let him tell it. I love fairy tales.
This ain't no fairy tale, little girl. If you don't take it seriously, you're a fool.
The first Valentine's dance in 20 years has to be something special.
Look, Landers, you gotta get a lot of exercise if you're gonna grapple with Gretchen.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got a Valentine for her that she's never going to forget. Right to the heart, huh? like Harry Warden's back in town.
It happened once. It happened twice. Cancel the dance or it'll happen twice.
In the town of Valentine Bluffs, there are many ways to die. Take your pick. My Bloody Valentine.
All right, that was My Bloody Valentine, 1981, directed by George Mihalka. This movie, it actually got, I ran through a lot of editing at the time. This is post John Lennon's assassination, and there's a general unease with violence in cinema, I think, and there was a lot in this one. Like, both these movies are pretty mean-spirited and really gory, and a lot of death scenes got excised out of the original cut, and there was, Lionsgate released something with some of that footage brought back into the film, I think in 2009. So
that would be good timing, right?
Yeah, but it ran through lots of edits to get it from an X to an R.
Wow. Okay. Because
it had to be all violence because there's
virtually every death scene got edited down.
Yeah, because there's a lot of talk about sexuality and stuff in the original movie, but there's like no actual nudity or anything like that. I mean,
no.
There's just that suggestive scene at the very beginning.
Yeah,
right. And I mean, it's a bra, woot woot.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
People are making out most of the time.
Yeah.
A lot of over the shirt action.
Yeah, the X certainly wasn't for nudity. It was going to be for
gore.
Excessive gore. And it is a pretty gory movie. I don't think every one of those effects stands up, but some of it does.
Oh yeah, no, it looked good when I was watching it. I'm like, wow, this actually still looks pretty good for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's the one scene with like the old guy at, like he's trying to do the prank on the kids at the mine.
Oh yeah,
and that pickaxe goes up through his jaw, through his eye, and I'm like, that's really good.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, that was one of the edits, by the way.
I can imagine that it would have been, yeah.
But it's I can see why it would be, because it's so well done.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I think if you weren't prepared for something like that in the 80s, it would have traumatized you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's really violent. I mean, you think the year before was the first Friday the 13th was kind of tame in comparison. I mean, there is a decapitation.
Yes.
But
well, it was like when it's the beginning of more stuff. Like they were, like you say, this is the beginning of the slasher genre.
And the escalation, right? It's like the bigger, better, gorier death. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's pretty gory, but it seems tame. But it was like this was when they were starting, so that's why there's like so many edits.
Yeah. And this movie does really, I mean, it's very much a direct response to the incline in popularity of the slasher genre, and a lot of the tropes are there. It's, the kids and the parties and the vice proceed slice and dice kind of roles. And I'd say the remake addresses that in a contemporary way, because the rules changed by the time we get to it, and they certainly acknowledge other films there as well. And I think specifically the Saw franchise and the way that movie ends.
Yes,
despite the fact that the execution was, well, duh.
Yeah,
yeah, of course we knew that.
I know. I caught on to what was going on about like. One of the first kills.
Yeah, no, it's just so telegraphed that when they do this, clip show of the big reveal, and they're trying to give you this twist, and it was, well, yeah.
I picked that up at the beginning.
Yeah, they give you lots of clues, and I mean, I think they meant to, but they were...
It was too transparent.
There was a little bit, it was a little too transparent.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's big holes in there too when you're watching it. It's like, okay, well, I see what you did there, but how did you do it? Because I mean, gas mask, overalls, and pickaxe.
This guy's a quick change artist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, both movies are kind of like that. The quick changes, and how the fuck did he run around the building so damn fast?
Yeah.
And especially that second one. It's just like, it's just a laundry list of like, why, how?
Oh, and then there's my other question. Where on earth is the loading dock in that grocery store?
Yeah.
They go into the back. I'm like, that's where the loading dock is. I don't understand. I don't understand the layout of that place.
I don't know. It's the same one from Plan 9.
Yes.
But they know in Plan 9 it was
Yeah,
a
huge loading
giant warehouse in the back.
Little store. This
Yeah.
one's big store, no loading dock.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, tiny bit of storage, like a minuscule bit of storage considering the size of the place.
Yeah, I don't know how he ran around the building so fast to get around to that window, but whatever.
I don't know either. One of those little Segway things.
Yeah, now
No, hoverboards. The hoverboards.
I'm hearing the Flintstones running sound in my head now. Sorry.
I'm just seeing him on those little hoverboards. Ree.
Well, back to the original. The original in this town used to have a traditional Valentine's Day dance every year for, I think it was like 100-year tradition or something like that.
That's what I said. It's been going on for 100 years.
Yeah, until this accident happens in the mine. I think there were 6 miners that get trapped in the mine collapse during the big dance.
Yes.
Only one miner survives. This is Harry Warden, who survived through cannibalism of his other, whether they were dead or alive before or after,
is left up to your imagination.
Yeah,
Left up to the imagination.
The cave-in may not have killed them.
Yes, the cave-in may not have killed them, and one could surmise that he may have killed them for his own survival, so there'd be more oxygen.
And they do say that in the remake, which I liked.
Yeah.
I like the way
They do say
is that he killed him to conserve air.
Yeah, they don't mention anything about cannibalism in the remake, but
in the remake, this guy, was he a miner or just a high-end Jason Statham level assassin? Because when you hit to that hospital scene, he has slaughtered an entire fucking hospital.
yeah, that was Halloween too.
Yeah, after being in a coma for 10 years.
Yeah. For you'd think he'd be a little atrophied.
Oh no, he was only in a coma for a
he was
year.
only coma.
That's right. Because 10 years later is when the events of the
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the hell? What? Really? This is okay, that Fast and the Furious where Jason Statham destroys the hospital. That's what I thought. Is he ex-CIA and just decided to go work in a mine to just lay low? I don't know what happened.
He certainly had a lot of hate in him.
He really did.
And I mean, there was anger because there was accusations of other people responsible. So when in the original film, he exacts some sort of revenge on Valentine's Day as well on the people a year or two later after he's recovered from his own injuries. And there were left to surmise that maybe he'd been killed and whatever in his killing spree.
Yeah.
But 20 years later, we got a bunch of kids. They're forming a new dance, and things are starting to kick up again.
Oh no, he was institutionalized. He was caught and
sent to an institution for 20 years
and dies there.
Yes, but they don't know this.
They don't know.
They don't know that.
But it's funny. I don't know. It's sort of, you can say it's a bunch of kids, but I sort of just estimated these were 20 somethings that just never left town. They're just youthful people. They're not the kids.
Yeah,
that's what I sort of surmised.
Yeah,
because it's a mining town, and because a lot of the guys work in the mine, so I just figured this is just just another generation.
Yeah,
that's
this
come
doesn't
through.
seem like they're high school or anything. These all seem like young adults.
Yeah, they're definitely post high school working adults.
Yeah,
right. I mean, they make that clear. I was saying that's one of the things I liked about it is they weren't your college kid trope. They weren't your high school kid trope.
Yeah.
These are working class people who work really hard and play really fucking hard.
Yeah, and they just want to have a Valentine's Day party. That's all they want.
But
it's so sweet.
Small industrial towns like this, Fort Mac.
Yeah,
we talk about this in a previous podcast, but it still goes on. They work hard. They're working really long days and long weeks, and when it's usually kind of week on, a few days off, another week on kind of thing, or maybe even longer.
Yeah.
So the downtime is really unwinding and partying hard. So
you've done 2 weeks of 12-hour, 14-hour days. So when you're off those 5, you got to have fun.
Yeah.
You've got to burn yourself out. So when you get to work, you're really tired. But when I was in my 20s, I could do stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Like I could be up all night and go do stuff the next day. I can't do stuff 3 days after I stay up all night. It's terrifying now.
Oh yeah, I'm a mess when I stay up after 11.
Oh, good God.
I'm kidding,
No,
I'm
I
not
can
that
stay up
bad.
till 2. I'm good. But like really, like if I see the sun come up, I'm like, I'm screwed for the next few days.
All right, well, invaders, I'm still up for a party.
I'm saying, I'm not saying I'd never do it. I just have to plan for it.
Oh yeah, now I'm now at the age where I need a plan.
Yeah. If I have to work the next day, it's like, I've got to reasonably think about this.
Oh yeah, I don't have a job where like requiring me to be conscious all the time.
Nice.
Although I do remember quite a few next day after parties where I'm like, I needed that bucket under the counter.
Nice. But yeah. But anyway, these kids, they go out to like the little mining thing, and this mine has a great little kind of games.
They have a lounge, yeah.
A little lounge, which like they
Yeah.
have like games, they have pool, they have like they've got the kitchen all done up. Like
Yeah, and
these kids know how to throw a party.
This is their alternate party spot after a few people start dying around town because Harry Warden, and I'll put that in air quotes that you can't see at all. No, they're air quotes. Can you hear 'em?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
you can hear 'em. All right, that's like
If somebody does air quotes and nobody sees them, do they happen? Yes, they do.
Yes. People are starting to wind up dead. There's a less than subtle thing at the beginning where a miner and this hot blonde are kind of getting at it. They've gone down into the mines and in their thing, and the blonde is starting to strip down, and the other miner just shoves her against something sharp and then is pierced through her little cheesy tattoo heart above her breasts. And that kind of kicks things off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, Harry, she was kind of hot. Maybe you should have got some before you killed her.
Well, I don't know. He's just one of those guys. He's like, well, I have to do. This is more important to me.
Honestly, he probably was going to get some, and then they did the whole looking at the heart thing, and I think it's a trigger.
Ugh. Okay.
Right?
Well, if it's that easy.
Well, you'd think the whole town, because at least in the original, the whole town's called what, Valentine Bluff or something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Find another place. Just find another place.
Bad shit happened. Time to move.
Exactly. Like if these are your triggers, just remove yourself from the situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Take a vacation early February, mid-February.
That's right. Go just stay out of stores during Valentine's Day. Those heart-shaped boxes. And
Yeah, maybe some vacation, some cabin in the woods. Do you?
That's an entirely different horror series.
Yes, but you see, maybe he won't be triggered. This is going to be the fun thing. He's going to be at a cabin in the woods. Now, somebody else will be trying to kill him at the cabin in the woods. But he's fine because it's Valentine's Day. But he's also a badass, so I just kind of want to see that movie happen.
he grabs his pickaxe and his mask.
Yeah, like Harry Warden versus whoever's in the woods.
Yeah. I did like the look of the miner and the gas mask and the pickaxe.
I think that they found the look and then determined their story after.
Well, the movie was originally called The Secret. I think maybe just to keep the subject secret. I'm sure that they had the whole Valentine's Day thing all figured out ahead of time.
Yeah.
And it was just, okay.
That was
here's
an
our
old way to
plot.
do it, to cover up what was happening, for a movie.
Yeah, and it still happens today.
As it should.
Yeah. And yeah, if somebody, especially with all the slasher movies being created at the time, if somebody heard about it and could have got to it first.
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Like, we know so many movies where it's like, oh, a comet's going to hit the Earth. We better get a ton of those out at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Asteroids, comets, whatever, and disaster movies seem to all happen at once. So.
Oh, yeah, disaster movies come in pairs all the time.
Yep. Yes, they do. And I mean, with slasher films, they went a slightly different direction. Let's use up all the holidays, and then other special nights like prom night and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that sometime down the road, too. Now, there's a big love triangle with your primary three characters here.
Yes.
Like, there's a whole group of young adults here, but your primary three is TJ, Sarah, and Axel. Now, Sarah's now with Axel. They've alluded to a past where she was with TJ.
Yes.
And TJ let that relationship lapse.
Well, he left town.
He left town.
Yeah.
And it's much similar to Tom in the remake. He leaves town, and that's why the relationship collapses. But Sarah's real love lies with TJ.
Well, yeah, like, I mean, I think TJ left town just like, I don't know, find his fortune. Because he makes allusions to, like, I just fell on my ass out there. And I'm like, oh, like, I feel kind of bad for him in that moment. I mean, he kidnaps her before then. But before, at that moment, I was like, oh, I get you, guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because TJ's not a bad guy, right? He's actually probably the most likable character in the movie, actually.
Well, he's the most stable.
Yeah.
And also, when everything is going down, he's the one who's like, I have to go down to the mines to get these guys. You make sure everybody gets out. Like, he's got that leadership quality, but he wants to make sure people are safe.
Yeah, well, and him and Axel in this movie, you knew they were good friends prior to him leaving. And Sarah's a point of contention between the two of them, despite the fact that they were probably close friends. They're very friendly with each other when she's kind of not around for a little while.
Yeah.
Until things kind of escalate there.
And the thing is, Axel's the one who escalates it.
Yeah.
Right? Because TJ's...
He's got jealous.
Yeah, he got jealous, and TJ's
came back.
trying to be the bigger man. Right?
Yeah.
And he says, you know what, this is too bad because I really like him. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
Right? After that conversation in his car with my other favorite character, the big guy with the beard and mustache, loved him.
Oh, I
that's Keith
adored
Knight.
him.
Yeah,
he
that's
was
Keith Knight.
so
He's
fun.
Hollis.
Yeah, Hollis. Yeah, that was it. I loved him. He was my favorite character in the whole movie.
It was like when it was like it's Cynthia Dale and him, and I'm like, I totally get it, like, because he's like the big guy, but he doesn't get violent or get involved unless he has to. Like when those two guys are having a fight, he's the one who just breaks it up.
Yep.
Like this big dude just comes in, stop it.
Yep. Picks them both up by the back of the collars. You guys are done.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. And I'm making arm gestures, guys, just like,
Exactly.
you know. We do a lot of that around here.
He just looked like a sweet big old bear, and I'm like, oh, I don't want him to die.
Yeah, if you guys could
You know
see
he
all
is.
the pantomime we do when we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't want him to die. I was so upset.
Yeah, even though you knew he was going to, because I mean, it was a slasher film, everybody dies. Except for your
Final girl.
final girl, yeah.
Yeah, no, Patty makes it fairly close to the end, but she becomes a blithering mess by the end of the movie, whereas Sarah, in both movies, is kind of a badass.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as soon as Patty was losing it on the ladder, I'm like, oh, as soon as it's weird. It's one of those tropes. As soon as a girl becomes like scared and wanting, she's gonna die. She's just gonna die,
Because you kind of want her to at that point because of all the shrieking and whining
and that makes me sad. I'm like, but why do you have to just have her whining and die? I like it when it's like a pointless one where like, oh, I love this character. Oh, damn.
I prefer when you're not really expecting it, because I mean, knowing full well that Hollis dies, when he dies, I was a little bit surprised, right?
Oh, of how he died too.
Yeah.
That was a new one. I was like, I didn't expect that at all. I thought he was going to get the usual pickaxe.
Well, tell everybody, don't just...
Oh, Hollis comes in. He gets like the nail gun. He gets like one in the temple and then another one in the front of his head. He's like everybody else gets the pickaxe.
Staggers away, yeah. It was a good one, because
He makes it back to the girls and the other guy, Howard.
we've actually seen, like, on those medical shows that were popular for a short time, the real ones, and people who had head traumas, and they'd go to the emergency room with something sticking out of their brain pan, and, well, they're fine until you remove that thing.
Yeah, well, there was a guy, wasn't he? He accidentally hit himself with a nail gun and went in complaining of a headache, but it went right in. But because of where it was sitting, it didn't kill him. He hit that perfect spot, and it didn't really leave much of a mark. So he didn't know until they did an X-ray. They're like, "Dude, there's like a nail in your head."
Yeah, medical miracles, right?
Yeah. It just goes to show we don't really know how the body works. But, yeah, so him I actually thought he might last a little longer.
I was
to be
hoping
honest.
so. I thought Howard would kick it before
I
he
loved
did.
I loved how the camera would kind of go into his perspective and would go kind of fuzzy and then kind of get focus again.
Yeah.
Like, he was really fighting the effects of it. Yeah. And Harry lets him kind of trot off because he just assumes he's going to fall down and die at some point.
Yeah, it was a death that was a lot different than everybody else's when you think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been just the writers and directors' way of acknowledging that we know you like Hollis, so we're going to do something unique with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to give you a proper goodbye.
Yeah, and we're going to make your death heroic in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he survives the attack and he still tries to get back to everybody else to to help.
Well, him coming back basically alerts them that they're like, Harry's down here. We better get out. We're going to die. That's what he does by just coming back.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I think that the writers knew that audiences were going to like Hollis, and made his demise as special as they could, given that he was going to be killed by a serial killer.
Yeah, and it's crazy. And getting back to also there's one thing when we were talking about the mask, when we were talking about the visual of that, a lot of the time you hear it going like, when he's sneaking up on people, is he just not breathing?
A good point.
That threw me
like
in
Darth
both.
Vader trying to sneak up on you. It's just not going to happen.
That threw me in both movies. I'm like, what is he doing to be like so goddamn quiet?
Yeah, he maybe he is stopping.
It's funny because I didn't even think about that.
Well, I'm like, you're in a mine. There's like not that much ambient noise.
Yeah.
You would hear everything. Echoing,
everything's
right?
going to be amplified in a mine because it's
Hey,
exactly. So you
damn
know.
you, Trish.
Sorry,
I actually have a question. If any of our invaders, I guess there might be one that's a Maytag specialist.
Oh, I need to know this too.
How hot do dryers get?
Oh, yes.
That I had a different question. When did they make it so that when you open the door of a dryer, it didn't it stopped? Because it didn't stop in the laundromat. Door was open, but it kept going.
Well, I've had dryers where
You've got momentum.
There's still momentum, and there's still a couple of turns before it
went going for a while, though.
Yeah, no, that
it was still running.
I don't know, shitty 80 dryers. Well, actually, it did in the remake too. So
yes.
I don't know, just a more cinematic effect.
It was a cinematic.
Now, what I'm
effect,
talking about here is Harry Warden goes to a laundromat, and there's one lady in there, and of course she's brutally murdered. Mabel, place is decorated with all sorts of Valentines
because she is thrilled about this Halloween dance.
She put it together.
Valentine's
She
dance.
wants it to happen. She's the key behind it.
Yes. He kills her and stuffs her in the dryer, and that's where her body's found, and it's like
cooked,
desiccated and bloody.
But it had been in on there all night.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What kind of cycle goes all night?
That's my other question.
How many
must have put
quarters?
A lot of quarters. Yeah, I think, holy smokes, he put a lot of quarters in that thing.
He kept going back every couple of hours to kept it going.
Yeah, that's it. Half of Harry's time is going to be spent making that dryer go.
Well, no, with those old dryers and those old laundromats, they would go for as long as you paid for. So you could if you put $40 in quarters in there, it'd just keep going.
Oh,
I remember that from the 80s in laundromats. But
so Harry paid a lot of money for that death.
Well,
he probably put in a ton of money.
Yeah, well, he probably got all the change from the register because it is a laundromat. They probably would have had rolls and rolls of quarters. But
and he also turned all of the paper hearts upside down.
Yeah. He spent a lot of time in there, though.
Yeah, he did. He's like, let's turn them upside down, like an upside down heart is like an upside down crucifix or something.
I know. I don't know. Or I'm sure he hung out, probably had some chocolate candy. You know, maybe he was cleaning his uniform from the previous death he did. I don't know.
Well, and he's busy ripping up people's hearts and sticking them in chocolate boxes. So.
Yes.
Sorry, just imagine this visual. He's got the helmet on, the gas mask on, but like a tank top and underwear. Just like reading a magazine while his stuff dries. Oh, if they ever do a parody, I need that scene in there.
Hey, Robot Chicken.
Yes, please, Robot Chicken, you can do it.
Seth Green, come on, get on that.
It would be. I just need to see it once, just once.
Oh yeah, and his boots. You don't forget, he's got to have his boots on, right?
Yeah, totally. Oh damn! What about? Oh, there was the hot dog death too.
Yes, which I was like going. I liked that they made they bubbled up his face as it would happen in hot water.
Yeah, that was another little bit different death in there, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Well, it's because he was the newbie, the young kid who was going to leave as soon as possible. So it was that. Ah, damn it.
Yeah. After after a couple of deaths like this, they do cancel the dance, but the kids have decided that they're going to still have a party. And that's because most of the people in this town work at the mines, so they just decide to go to the mines in that rec area, and that's the party room.
Well, the kids also don't know because the cops are like going,
no, they're
okay,
keeping it secret.
Yeah, Mabel had a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah, and he gets that note saying cancel the dance or the killing won't stop, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why they make the decision to cancel the dance, because Harry Warden has told them, if you don't stop, I'm going to keep killing.
But they don't want to. They don't want to like panic anybody, so they don't tell them the real reason why they did it. So that's the other reason why the kids just go ahead. They're like, well, they don't give us a good reason, so we might as well just have our own party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because Mabel would want us to, right? And their logic made sense.
Yeah, and Harry Warden learns of this, and hey, the mines are his territory, right? Or so we would think.
Well, Valentine's Day is kind of his territory, apparently. He only just goes this insane around this time of year.
Well, this is the anniversary of the murders. Now, there were interesting flashbacks in the film, like we see what happened with Harry in the mines, and he comes out and he's gnawing on an arm, although if you're being unburied, you'd figure you'd stop eating the arm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He was, at that point, he had a taste, and it was just like a bag of chips you can't stop.
Well, and he clearly had gone nuts while
he
being
was
down
insane.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Imagine isolation. If you think about people can't go that nuts, maybe think about being without your phone, locked in a room, no
Yeah.
computer, no TV, no nothing.
Yeah.
I might go a little insane. I wouldn't go eating people insane, but I would probably go a little bit insane.
Yeah, and then the following year, he goes on his killing spree after recovering and kills a lot of people responsible for the safety checks and stuff like that. And the murders being witnessed by a young child.
Yes, which is it's a weird thing I never have gotten a handle on in these movies, where a child witnesses something happen, so they become the killer.
Yeah, that's a Dexter thing, too.
I don't understand it.
No, but yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's a psychological trauma, and
Yeah.
I imagine that would really affect a kid at such a young age who probably doesn't understand death to begin with.
But why would you want to recreate it from the perspective of the killer rather than the perspective of your parent?
And part of me thinks, especially the way that both the remake was handled, it almost felt like a possession.
Yeah, that's what I thought the remake was like a possession sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean, they don't come out and say that. They just make it look like he could be crazy.
Yeah, see, I would have gone the whole thing where, like, the kid was actually Harry's illegitimate child or something, because that's a trope that I kind of get.
Yeah. Now, spoilers, because 1981 and you didn't have enough time, right? Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
The killer is actually Axel.
Yes.
Now, Axel is the one who witnesses the deaths as a child, and when this...
Well, he witnesses one death.
Yeah, when this Valentine's tradition kicks up, he kind of takes on the aspect of Harry Warden to stop it.
yeah, and it is a trigger for him, because it was his own father that he saw die.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just... The days is still a trigger for him.
Yeah. And, like, do we want to get, like, to the final scene with him?
Sure, yeah, no, he fakes his death in the mine at one point when all this carnage has already happened. A lot of kids have died, and they're trying to save Sarah and Patty at this point. And Tom's got the lead, Axel's got the tail, and they hear this crunch, and it looks like Axel's gone through this
The railing.
this railing
Into 60 feet of water.
Yeah, and we just see this helmet
Bubbles
light,
in the helmet.
Yeah, this helmet light sink into the murky water. So we assume that Harry has got him, but it's just him.
He just threw his helmet in.
Yeah, no, he finally went back to the closet, got the mining gear, and started going after the rest of them, because he is the killer after all.
I do have to admit, that was actually a pretty good misdirect.
Yeah.
If you'd not seen the movie before, especially in the early days where this type of misdirect was, I mean, I wouldn't say it was a new thing, but it wasn't commonplace in movies. So it was actually a pretty slick little misdirect.
Well, it was Black Christmas sort of started those misdirects, I think.
And I wouldn't say Friday the 13th was much different, because we don't know who's really doing the killing, and it turns out to be Jason's mother.
Yeah.
So
It's not even Jason. They think it's Jason.
Yeah. So
no, and like I said, you're right. I guess I spoke out of turn there.
Yeah,
But-
no, the twist had been established. I think Halloween's really the only one that didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Halloween is like, no, we're serious. This is actually the person who's doing the killing. We just want to make that very clear.
Yeah. I still think it was a good misdirect, though.
Oh, yeah. Like, they really did hold off on it for the longest time.
I think it's more surprising in the original than the remake by far.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the remake, they do... Well, I like the remake where they changed it. In the remake, it's not Axel. it's the other, like it's Tom / TJ.
Yeah. Now, Tom, you know what? Let's run the trailer for that, and then we'll talk about that sequence.
After we've given up the ending. We're going to watch the trailer now.
Spoiler, it's Tom.
We've told you everything.
Exactly what did you see?
Something was following us.
This is the most horrific event this town has ever seen. Authorities are calling this the Valentine's Day Massacre.
In the town of Harmony, something unexplainable
Hello?
is happening.
Come here, you better check this out.
What is it? This January, prepare to witness.
What do you want?
The most frightening 3D motion picture event to tear through the screen. My Bloody Valentine 3D. Nothing says date movie like a 3D ride to hell.
All right, that was My Bloody Valentine 3D from 2009 by Patrick Lussier of Drive Angry.
I do have to say,
Which explains a lot.
yeah, it does. But the thing is this guy's got potential as a director. There's some really neat things he did in this movie.
You know, on my second viewing, because this was my second viewing, I didn't really like it the first time I saw it in the theaters. The 3D stuff was actually probably some of the better things, although the CG doesn't hold up.
No, it certainly doesn't.
No.
Yeah, there's the one scene there with the top of the head, which I thought was fun to watch, but it was sliding off the shovel.
Yeah.
It was creative.
Yeah, it's
but
just it doesn't look as good as it
yeah.
did then.
Yeah.
I appreciate the creativity, but it's one of those ones where I understand why they did it CG, but I'm like, practical effect there would just look so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, on the whole, I think he's a very competent director. I think he just keeps getting shitty stuff to work with.
Yeah, and that maybe he just likes to kind of work with these crazier, cheesier ideas. I don't know.
Those would be more creative, I guess, visually. But
yeah, because there's a bit of a grindhouse feel to a lot of the things he does.
Yeah.
So,
but there's the one scene in the cage where Tom is facing Harry, and they're doing that whole mirror effect thing. I mean, there's a huge clue that we're one and the same, right? But
if that didn't tip you off, nothing would.
Yeah, but it was so well done. It looks so good.
Yeah.
Right. I just really like that. And I'm like,
the fact that Harry doesn't kill him multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is in part, I think, Tom's guilt, because Tom is responsible through negligence for those miners' death at the cave-in on February 14th. And again, it was 6 miners, and Harry's the only one comes out, and it's alluded that he killed them all to conserve oxygen, and he does go on this killing spree. Much of that's still the same, but these movies are quite different in the way they're presented. It's Tom's left town because of this tragedy. His family owns the mines,
and TJ's did in the original too.
Yes, well, TJ's father was the mayor of the town.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then they have this whole sort of subplot of Tom coming back to sell the mine that never really goes anywhere.
Yeah, his father passes away. That brings him back to town. Gives him a reason to come back to town.
Which you could add a layer that would have just been a golden opportunity to add a layer to this movie where it's not even Harry and it's not even Tom. It's somebody who wants ownership of the mine and just brings back this.
It would have been a Scooby-Doo thing.
No, yeah, like bring back a modern day boogeyman.
I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you kids.
Yeah. I think that would have been like such an interesting take on it because people don't want to believe it, but like,
I'm actually surprised they didn't, because that really provides a lot of motive.
Yeah, and I mean, but keep all those other elements in it that led to the misdirects, like where they talk about Tom having been in a mental institution for 7 years.
Yeah.
Yes,
right.
Yeah, because there's so much that makes it so obvious that it's Tom. Like, one of the first. There's a couple of killings beforehand. when people are aware that Tom's around. But when he takes up at that motel and those killings are there, well, it's so obvious. Like, there's nobody around that entire area that it could be. So it's very obvious that this is going to be Tom. Yeah. The fact that he's just tormenting this naked chick this whole time. Choice of the actress, by the way, not the filmmakers.
Oh.
She was the original scene of that where they're having sex and she's supposed to get covered up with the towel. And the trucker, by the way, is Todd Farmer, the writer of this film.
Oh, okay.
Who's filming them having sex. So she's supposed
level.
to, so she's supposed to wrap herself up with the towel after having sex, but every time they tried to film the scene, she couldn't keep it on. So she just said, let me just do it naked. So it was her choice, not the filmmakers.
Yeah, and I mean, like, good on her. Because, like, it's sort of, when I was thinking, like, there's an awful lot of her naked, and I'm like, well, actually, narratively, it kind of makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, that was...
He's already seen you naked, why are you covering up?
Yeah, that's Irene from Betsy Rue from Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh,
nice.
There we go.
Yeah.
She's making a career of dying in movies.
and then trying to use a bed frame with holes in it to defend herself. Bad choice.
It was actually working for her for a little while there.
Well, she kept ducking because he kept going for her head, and then
he wised up.
Let's go low.
Yeah.
Ah, crap! Insane. And then they had the poor lady who was part of the hotel.
Oh, the little
person.
Yeah, the little person who ran the motel, and the way she gets kind of scooped up from the axe into the ceiling and is stuck there for a little bit until Harry realizes she's been hiding under the bed.
There is a beautiful detail in that one.
There's some really gory stuff in this movie.
It's true. But I think there's a lovely detail in it where they've got, like, you notice there was, like, steps and kind of a little railing by the kitchen because she's small. And that was, like, a whole thing. I was like, oh, I love that. That they took that time to make it seem like that was where she lived.
Yeah.
No, they didn't waste a lot. They paid a lot of attention to what they were doing. I mean, they made a pretty decent film given the subject matter and the...
Yeah, it's very different, the way the love triangle's handled. And actually, because the mine accident happens and then Harry gets revenge, he kills a lot of people in the hospital that he escapes from. And then
a ton of people,
and the kids are already having that party at the mine. This is all the beginning of the movie.
Yes,
and a lot of them are slaughtered. And it's Tom, Axel, and Sarah, and I can't remember who the other person was that escaped the mine. Tom falls behind, so Axel and Sarah and the other girl leave him behind.
They make a run for it. He's going to kill us.
Yeah, thankfully the police officers and town sheriff at the time kind of arrive at the last minute to shoot down Harry, and Tom survives, but you can tell something's kind of snapped from the experience in his brain, like he's traumatized from the experience. And then we flash 10 years later, the sheriff has retired. He's still in the background. This is Burke, played by Tom Atkins. You might remember him from The Fog and Lethal Weapon. And the new town sheriff is Axel, who's now with Sarah.
And has a family and kids.
And has a family and a kid, and is also cheating on her, which, makes us not so sympathetic. And I thought it was an interesting trope because it gave him a bit of a road for redemption, because you really feel like he's going to die or turn into, And I think because we already know Axel's the killer from the original.
Yeah, and when I was watching it the first time, I was almost expecting like that Scream, there's actually both of them kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought
the
too.
Animosity that they have is all for show, and I would have loved to have seen that
or
too.
a Wild Things type of scenario too, where it's still for show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I certainly like that idea where there should have been more motivations and more misdirects.
Yeah,
because there's nothing to misdirect you from Tom. Like, it's pretty much laid out from the beginning of the film. This is going to be Tom this time.
Yeah,
the misdirect. I don't know,
but he's very moral during the movie.
The misdirect isn't so much for us. It's for, his wife. Sarah?
Sarah.
Yeah, it's for Sarah. Because Sarah is the one who's being pulled between these two men. And that's her doubt. Because, like, they're married. And it doesn't look like the marriage is in the best shape.
No, she knows that he's been messing around on her. He hasn't said anything.
Yeah, she works with Megan, who's his mistress. So,
Yeah.
and he's like, she's like, I'm not blind.
Yeah, she's not stupid.
Yeah.
It's just sort of she's in this situation and she's like, well, like, I mean, she just hasn't decided to leave, maybe, or I don't know what's going on.
What I did like about the remake is that the triangle's still there, but it's not reciprocated by Sarah.
Oh no,
not like it was in the original where Sarah's actually waffling between the two of them. No. She's not really sure she still loves her husband, but she's not willing to go back to Tom either.
No.
She has many doubts about him.
She has a family, so she's like, no, I'm not just going to give this up.
Yeah, she's committed. She has feelings for Tom, but she's committed in what she has.
Yeah, and she has.
She has a life there.
Again,
And Tom's really only coming back to deal with the estate.
Yes,
at the time.
But after a couple conversations with her, he changes his mind. He says he changed his mind about selling the mine.
Yeah, and you could see he's made it in kind of a mission to win her back.
Yes,
even though that's not cool.
No, well, yeah, he's made it a mission to win her back, and part of what he thinks
he's really antagonistic to Axel about it.
Oh yeah,
like those two.
But he is in the original too.
Yeah.
Right. But in a different way. TJ in the original just says, "Well, you know what? I'm going to let her decide, and I'm going to be around.
Yes.
So you have to deal with that. If she chooses me, then she chooses me, right? But then Axel's the one who starts to get all jealous and pick fights and all that stuff.
Yeah. Whereas this one, he's really antagonistic. Yeah. He's like, well, you know, she's really in love with me.
Yeah.
You were the fallback guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank goodness he's got that deputy there to keep him from doing something really crazy.
Oh, it's funny,
which is Darwin from the X-Men movies. Which I loved it. I loved it when I saw him. I'm so happy.
Eddie Gathegi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but yeah, he was Darwin from X-Men First Class and Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, he's a great addition to this cast.
He wasn't Darwin in Gone Baby Gone, but that would have been kind of cool. If he would have been Darwin in that movie.
If he'd been Darwin in this movie. Like, imagine that.
The mistress was Megan, who was played by Megan Boone. They just didn't bother giving her a new name. Oh, by the way, we need a mistress because we need Axel to look like a dick.
She looks like... Well, and she looks like a Megan.
She does. Well, I guess that was like, nobody's going to believe you're anything but a Megan.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're thinking of Samantha, but we're like, no, you're just a Megan. And I'm sorry, you're just a Megan.
She's not just a Megan. She's the Megan.
The Megan. But yeah, no, that whole scene, like with what I liked about that, the store episode, like besides the stupid running around real quick bullshit.
Oh God, that was just, that almost popped me out.
Yeah.
It did pop me out.
It was so ridiculous.
Val was actually watching it with me, and I'm like, why? Why are you checking the store? Get the fuck out.
I know.
You don't need to run around the store. Right?
Yeah, they've ran into the office and he's pickaxing. They do the trope.
Door.
Let's put a bunch of shit in front of the door. So he's pickaxing at the door, and he can start seeing through. And there's this locked cage behind the window, so they're fumbling with keys to unlock it, and they finally get it unlocked. And Megan's crawling through.
Halfway out.
She's halfway out.
2 seconds.
Yeah, he peers through the door. Next thing you know, he's around the building and pulling her out. What the fuck? That is some good-ass cardio.
And you know what? That's what made me think it was both of them for a brief period.
I thought there was more than one person.
Yeah,
because that's a Scream thing, because they did that in Scream where it seemed like there's no way that he could have gotten to that second location so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, you think of the size of a grocery store, and even with whatever the nearest exit is, it still would have been at least 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, she would have been out and down the alley.
There literally had to have been a door next to that office.
And there wasn't, because we saw.
That's right. We saw them run in, so.
Yeah, because otherwise they would have run out of it instead of into the office, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the nearest entry point is the front door of the grocery store. So it's probably going to take you almost full 2 minutes to get to the other side of the building.
And we never see him run.
We're talking at full burn.
Yeah, we never see him run. It's just that angry walk.
Yeah. Well, because, these big serial killers, they don't run unless it's off screen.
Exactly. They're like, no, I don't run.
I think they have this magical teleportation skill that we just don't know about.
Yeah, right?
Because you see it in all the horror films. It's like, oh, poof, all of a sudden he's like right there after this person's like run 3 miles through the woods in the random patterns, but he seems to know exactly where they are every time. That's kind of like this sort of supernatural skill that they all have.
I have a visual. It's those speeders from Return of the Jedi. They just get on those because it's in the woods.
Now, Megan's kill is actually an off-screen kill.
Yes.
Like, we see her body and her heart's been ripped out and a message on the wall. And this kind of plays later as to who knows what.
Yeah.
There are a couple off-screen kills in the original as well. That couple who are making out in that room.
Because I don't think...
they're impaled, but we never see them get impaled.
Yeah, but I don't think it plays into it because we didn't say earlier that Megan is his pregnant mistress.
Oh, yes, which never comes up again.
No,
so
they should
why
have
they
addressed
made her
that.
pregnant, they just to make it all the more tragic.
I think that's all.
But, you could see Axel's reaction to learning that wasn't really great.
Oh, no.
So, and I get the feeling it was meant to be a motive to kill her.
Yes.
They just don't do enough to sell that to me. Like, Axel's across town when most of these things are happening.
Well, I think it's just like I say, it's the transparency with making it Tom really does make you not doubt it. Like, it should have been like less noticeable that it was Tom.
I agree.
Yes.
Because that's why you don't really get it. Like, I think the only time I really waffled was when they were having that phone conversation in the vehicles as he's driving to try and get to his wife, and he tells his wife to go and hide in his dad's old place.
Yeah.
Which, again, they talk about, like, he owns land around here, and I'm like, okay, so this has something to do with the mine.
It's funny that
and they just drop that.
He tells him to do that when he's on the cell phone. Where was he going? Because he pulls a full
thank
U-turn.
you.
He's on a highway, there's forest. Like, where were you going? Were you just fucking running? Like, where were you going that you had to turn all the way around?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I need a map of this movie. I need to find out where everything is.
You'd figure he is at least going in a general direction of where he's learning things. Like,
yeah, there's got to be a layout for this movie.
Yeah,
there's gotta
and people
be.
just kind of find things out at the last minute. I'm like, oh, by the way, and what was Deputy Martin doing at the mine earlier on? And they allude to something shady. He's like, never mind, I'm the cop here.
Yeah, that's weird. They bring stuff
back.
up and then drop it, and then they bring stuff up and then they drop it, and then they bring stuff up and then they drop it.
They do that all the time in this movie.
Yeah, they do.
Little things that you think are being plot threads that never go anywhere.
See, and that's the thing I think that part of the problem is why it seems so transparently Tom, is if they'd actually tried to follow these plot threads to be like to either disprove them or prove them, it would have made more of an idea where you're like, oh, maybe it isn't Tom. Maybe it is somebody masquerading as somebody else because they want ownership of the mine. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the other cop.
Yeah, they reworked this movie quite well. Like, it is not really a direct remake. They've taken a lot of the similar ideas and really come up with new scenarios around this movie. And the structure's fairly similar, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's got a lot more happening and more things going on with your major characters.
And very little of it in a mine.
Yeah.
A lot of it is in the woods, in houses.
Yeah, also still has the dryer scene.
Yes.
But now it's the nanny.
Yeah.
Sarah's nanny.
Well, as soon as I saw it in the movie, I'm like, they're not going to let this one go in the remake. They're going to put that in. They had to.
That was the most iconic scene in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, and they kept lots of nice little tributes. They changed things enough to keep it interesting for people who've seen the original, but also put those little tributes in different places, and I liked that. One thing I wanted to mention right at the beginning of the freaking podcast, and I forgot to. We were talking about how it was filmed in Nova Scotia, and I love how the fact that they had Moosehead beer in like every scene, which I don't think would have been widely available anywhere outside of Nova Scotia at that point.
No.
Right?
Well, when I saw that whole thing in the background, I'm like, I didn't realize Moosehead was that old. I didn't realize that Moosehead was around at that time.
It's because nobody out of Nova Scotia was getting it.
I know. That's why I was looking. I was totally enamored of that scene because it's always right behind the bartender whenever he's given that angry exposition. He's like, he's back. Arr.
Yeah, and they had the beer boxes or the beer cases and stuff out there. And I was kind of like laughing, going, it's interesting they didn't replace that with an American brand. Right? Like that like an American national brand. I mean, I was really happy they didn't, but I thought it was very interesting that somehow along the line, Moosehead must have gotten some product placement deal in there because it shows up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe this was the movie that brought Moosehead to the rest of us.
Who knows?
They slowly expanded outside of
people watch this movie and they're like, wait, is this Moosehead a real beer? And then it just comes to us.
By the way, in the remake here, the first two people killed in the movie, the names were Jason and Michael. And apparently, although I don't remember the kills anymore of what happened to them, but apparently they were kind of in homage to those characters. So
sweet,
similar to somehow those. Who knows? It would have been a different movie for each one, but how those characters had died in their movies. So
wait, Jason and Michael were the first kills 10 years later, or were they the people in the hospital?
No, I guess it would have been in the mine party, right?
Oh, okay. But because they don't show that in the remake. They don't show any of that in the remake. Wait.
That would have been the hospital people dying. That would have been before the party, so...
Yeah, then it can't be, because the first one to die was a nurse.
Oh, I don't know. These facts were fucked. Unless her name was Jason.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a Princess Michael of Kent. Maybe that's the Michael.
Maybe. Maybe. Good point.
Probably not. Although I do know a girl named Michael.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah. Michael is actually, there's places where it's a female name.
She's a model.
Nice.
I don't know. You guys got anything else for this one? I mean, I think we kind of covered the major bits of this. Like, both these movies are so mean-spirited as far as their deaths and the darkness of them go. And as for horror movies, there doesn't seem to be any underlying message to them that's of commentary. But, you know, when they get to Tom's reveal, it feels very like, here's your Saw twist, and we're going to show you all the things you may have missed.
Yeah.
They start flashing back to the scenes of the major kills, and we start filling in the gaps of where Tom is now posing as Harry Warden, and you start filling in those gaps, and you get the rising of the theme, and I'm like, oh, this feels very Saw.
Yeah,
and it's just so odd. Like, it's terribly, terribly odd, because they have the whole thing where he spent all this time in a mental institution. Yeah. Oh, and he's popping pills like nobody's business.
Well, I guess part of what, you know, made My Bloody Valentine popular was the fact that it was just a blatant ripoff of other slashers at the time. So why would the remake be any different?
Yeah.
You know, the new popular tropes was things like Saw at the time. So
yeah, and Scream, because I mean, Scream did revitalize the slasher genre, but it was so smart. This wasn't smart.
No,
like I think there's a great movie in here if you follow the plot threads, and like I think you can even add layers to this. Like, it's a mining town, because there's another part where they talk about the town depends upon this mine. If it goes, the town goes. Like, maybe have a whole thing about like how maybe the mine is going dry. Maybe we don't know that, or just like stuff like the dependency of the mine in the town. There's so much there.
Well, you start giving more characters motivations, and then it can be anybody. And then when the few times they kind of give you something, they just never follow it up and remind you about them. And other than Axel, it doesn't really feel like they tried that hard.
No,
like, I mean, you could have made it. Yeah, you could have made it the other cop. You could have made it one of the original cops that
shot down Harry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't get to the part where they know, the guy who's the sheriff, Axel, knows that they did some vigilante justice and they killed Harry and buried him.
Yeah, Burke got himself a posse, and they killed him and buried him, and of course he's not in the hole.
Nope.
And when they go to check, you know, he's not there, and then they come back and there's another body in there, and there's really only a handful that actually went out there. So now you've just trimmed it down to the people that were there, and most of them were dead by the time they figured out. So yeah, that one could have gone somewhere. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He was the only one.
They did. They blew a lot of really great opportunities to make you wonder who it really was.
Yeah. It's like a game of Clue where you already had the cards, you know?
Yeah. No, you don't have the envelope in the middle of the board. You've just opened it up and they're just staring at you.
Yeah.
And you're just rolling the dice and going through the motions.
Yeah. No, I'm going to move here now. It is frustrating in that regard, but awesome kills.
Oh, yeah. No, there's some really good, memorable ones.
I said the story was the problem with this movie. The direction wasn't really that bad. It was actually there are points where I thought it was quite good, and I mean, yeah, visually, I mean, especially for when it was made, it looks great. Right? No, it was its story was the letdown on this movie.
That was the problematic.
So okay, out of both movies, what are your favorite kills in both movies?
Ooh, I'm actually going to have to go through the pickaxe. Tough one, because I was thinking about the sheriff, because he had a very similar thing with the pickaxe up to the chin,
to the jaw, and then rip the jaw.
Yeah,
I mean, in 3D that looked awesome.
Yeah.
I could imagine that was the one I looked at. I'm like, going, oh, that really would have been great in 3D.
That one just made me howl in the theaters when I saw
I'm
it.
sure. So
that's my favorite from the remake.
Yeah, I would have to say that was my favorite from the remake, and from the original. Yeah, I still think the up to the chin and then up the eyeball.
Yeah, although the little person kill was pretty good too.
Yeah, that girl, I was like going, I saw her, and I was heartbroken when I didn't get to see more of her.
Yeah,
it was really, we got 2 minutes of screen time with this girl.
This really chesty little person.
I was like going, oh, please survive. I just want you to survive this bitch. Yeah. I want him to be distracted by the chick under the bed, and then you get away.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been amazing.
Well, and that should have happened, actually, because then you would have had somebody validating, I saw Harry Warden.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Oh, yes. That's a complete missed opportunity.
You're right. Yeah. Then it would have just brought up that fervor of Harry's back even more.
Yeah.
Been more convincing with it.
And it also would have been like the sheriff's part of their whole thing, where like when he's trying to like keep this rumor down on the low, it looks suspicious when he's like, he's not back. He's not back. Like, you could have that misdirect as well.
Yeah.
Her death actually could have been avoided, and her character been made more valuable. Actually.
Oh, completely. Well, it's because it's so odd, because she's not introduced until that moment.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Like, she shows up and then dies. It's like, usually
she's an extra.
Yeah,
she's
but I mean,
extra.
You don't usually kill extras, right?
Well, I would have maybe done a little bit more with her earlier in the film, just to establish.
Yeah, like have her check in or something. Something.
Well, they did.
They did do
but,
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like more. Just I don't know.
Yeah, no.
See, I forgot that part. I've watched this movie. Yeah. I forgot that scene.
And that's one thing that they do really well in the original is everybody kind of goes to this one place to hang out, like this bar. So you see all the faces. They're all there.
You meet everybody.
Yeah, you meet everybody. You may not get to know everybody.
You may not know their names, but you know who they are.
You've established them. You've seen them. They're interacting with other people.
And they all have character.
Yeah.
Like, every single character in the original has character. Whether you like it or you don't. Like
you know who's who.
You know who's who. Yeah. Because some of them are funny, some of them are mean, and it's very apparent. Like, they give them just enough time to make sure you know who they are.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like it establishes like this is a small town, and these are like this is the group of people that hang out around each other. Like they know each other. You get that sense of history.
Well, and everything's kind of after the fact in the remake. Like Irene, the naked chick. They allude to the fact that she had a relationship with Axel. I'm like, well, who fucking cares? Like,
well, when she was a teenager,
I'm like, at this point, who hasn't he fucked?
Yes,
at that point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. See, that's the other bit I kind of wanted more. I'm like, he's just going to be that guy in town. There is always one who has done the rounds.
Yeah,
yeah. But
who's just the man whore
despite the fact that he can't stay loyal to his wife, he's still loyal to his family. Like, he still cares about his family. He cares about his wife.
Cares about his child.
He's protective of him. But it was just funny because he can sleep around, but God forbid she has any kind of relationship with anybody.
Has a conversation with somebody, let alone that.
That's classic guilt, though.
That is classic guilt. And I mean, he knew what he was doing was physical and emotionless, but he was concerned that she was going to leave him for somebody else.
No, but like it's a whole transference thing. It is guilt too.
For sure, yeah.
Like the whole point is it's that whole idea of like, well, if this is what I'm doing, this is what somebody else is doing. Like that's not the way people work.
You're absolutely right,
but he doesn't know.
And people like that find ways to justify it.
Oh, right? Completely. Like he knows he's out of order, but oh no, it's just physical. It's all fine. Yep. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like I mean, visually, it's enjoyable. Like I don't know. The remake is fine. I think I mostly liked it because I did, like you said, the direction, the look of it. I like the actors. Like Jensen Ackles, I'm sorry, very classically handsome man. I could watch him do crap and I'd still enjoy it.
He's a competent actor. Like, I mean, he did the best he could with what he had. I mean, you watch some of his facial expressions in that movie and how on point they are for the scene. And it's like, you're wasted in this movie, dude.
Yep. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. And it's too bad that like the film career didn't kick up for either one of them, really. For the Winchesters, it just wasn't meant to be. But
I know.
At least not yet. Yeah.
Someday, Jensen. Someday they'll let you out of that CW cage, and then you'll be free. Free.
Free Jensen. Free Jensen. Free Jensen. Free Jensen. Free Jensen.
Free. We should get T-shirts made.
We've just pissed off every Supernatural fan that never wants that show to end.
Yeah, but I mean, like, we just want him free to do movies. He can still do your show. We just want him in other stuff.
Yeah, and movies that take advantage of the talent that he has.
Exactly. I watched him in like one small indie film like a decade ago, well before Supernatural, and he was really, really good in it. Mm-hmm. I think it was the one he met his wife at. Really, it was pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean the rest of the actors were okay. I mean, Kerr Smith, I mean, as Jay said, we've seen him in lots of stuff.
Jaime King's gone on to a good career, too. Sin City, and, well, we've all forgotten about Pearl Harbor, but she was there.
Yeah. Like, she's good. Like, I really enjoyed her in this movie. And, like, Kerr Smith, like, he gives Great Bastard. He really does.
Yeah, he's good. You really kind of dislike him, and when he starts becoming likable, you're like, but you're not. I don't want to be on your side because you're a cheating fuck.
He makes us hate him and then makes us hate him for making us like him a little bit. Like, we hate him on several levels. Yeah. But not all of them are bad.
Oh, what about I totally forgot about it. The chocolate boxes in his closet in his little sex hideaway of his dad's old house. Like, man, if that's not a blatant, frame up, like, I don't know what it is.
That's bizarre. Because, they have the whole thing where she gives chocolate at the local hospital, which is, again, something else that's dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, all these little things that are just go nowhere at all.
Like, they're like, what's the word? They're plot non sequiturs. That's what they are. That's why, I think that's why this movie feels disjointed. It is story. It is the story with potential to make a good story, and just
they would have just followed through on half of what they had. They would have had a much better movie.
Yeah, like you can remove a ton. If you removed like a handful of the stuff they introduced and followed up on another handful that they already have in there, you're good.
You really only had to reduce like one kill scene to kind of add all that stuff back in.
Exactly.
Yep. It would have really made that movie more believable.
Well, and especially when you consider how long that first kill scene is with the trucker and Irene.
Oh yeah,
yes.
That's 5-6 minutes at least.
Oh no, it's a cat and mouse chase.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean, it can be fine, but you cut out the kill of the lady who runs the motel. It's still memorable enough. It still makes its point. You're still good. And then they have the other thing where he's watching the whole tape. The tape of them having sex, and then she gets killed. Oh yeah, they could have gotten rid of like just the little lady not getting killed, and that would have been a fine, tight scene. Would have accomplished everything you wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And you still could have had your naked chick running around.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was okay with that.
Yeah.
I had to look her up, and I'm like, is this some sort of porn star? Rob Zombie movie? Close enough.
Yeah. Well, and I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with her ability to run in those like shoes. That's kind of impressive to me.
That's all she had on at the time.
See, I would have loved to have watched her do that, but like with a pair of sneakers. Like, she's naked at that point, but she got to that hotel in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt and sneakers. Like, how awesome would that have been?
Yeah.
I think that would have been good. I'm all for practicality in movies.
Yeah, and I like the parallels though, like that scene too, because I mean that scene was supposed to parallel the scene in the original in the mine, right?
Yeah.
Right. This sort of random hookup, but it didn't feel all that random. Like they had, like Irene and that trucker apparently had on an ongoing relationship.
Yeah, and he was just using her.
Yeah.
You know,
He was an asshole.
It was just a stop on his trek.
Yeah.
And he was recording it, and he didn't give a shit that she found out. She's like, he's like, no, you're just a screw.
Yeah, and I can understand her being pissed off. I'm like, give me the fucking tape,
He
you
even
ass
throws
hat.
money at her, saying, "Well," she's like, "I'm not a hooker." Well, you are now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you do not feel bad when this guy dies.
No, not at all.
No, and it's a nice clean one. I really liked that one, straight on the top of the head, and then just a nice push with the boot to get him off the blade.
Yeah. Yep. And that was your screenwriter. So it almost feels like he's paying for some guilty writing.
Yeah, he's like, okay.
I'm paying for my non sequiturs.
I feel bad about this scene and some of the stuff with this plot. So can I die in this movie?
He's in Drive Angry too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Which one is he?
I don't remember, but he's in there.
Is he the
I think
asshole?
He's one of the heavies.
Oh, okay, because I thought he might have been the asshole like Amber Heard was with before she takes off with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I thought this might be like his milieu, where he's the asshole who gets it in the beginning of the movie.
Maybe. Well, anything else you guys want to add to this sucker?
No, I don't know that it bears that much more addition. I think we've maybe covered
We found everything we can.
Yeah.
I think most of what we discussed is what we wanted in it, rather than the actual movie itself.
Yeah, I think we've given it as much detail as it probably deserves.
Yeah, there's not much going on. It really is just a bloodbath, both movies, and
which can be fun sometimes.
Yeah,
we're not hacking on them.
No,
right?
like it's not every movie needs to be deep and philosophical and have some other hidden message. Although I think horror should have some kind of subtext. This has none. It's just a kill fest.
No, and I don't know. The original, what I enjoyed is it's in a mine, like just the original scene, like where it takes place.
Yeah,
I really kind of enjoyed that. I can't think of any other real movies.
The Valentine's Day thing was just a device
to get them in the mine.
Yeah.
No, just to make the movie, they were going with that holiday theme. Right? They could have been anything they wanted, and without the Valentine's Day theme, and it would have worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it may have worked better. Actually,
both of these felt like they should have had sequels. In fact, I know George Mihalka in the early 2000s did try to get a sequel off the ground. Paramount just didn't see the money. They're just because the original didn't really make a ton of money. It doubled its money, but it didn't do great either. They just didn't see much reason to do so. So
instead they do a remake.
But they both kind of end on those, the killer could come back moments.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like we didn't. Okay, the one thing we didn't get to is the 127 hours bit at the end of the original.
Yeah, where he cuts off his own arm.
He gets and I'm sorry, he gets through that arm real quick.
Yeah, and he's like runs off. Will you be my Valentine, Sarah?
He runs off. We'll be back here, me and Harry. And I'm like, and he doesn't bleed to death. He cut off his fucking arm with a knife and didn't even tourniquet it.
No, hopefully he did that later, but I don't know. They're gonna find your corpse somewhere in the mine a week later.
Yeah.
Chewed on by rats.
I know. Like I'm not familiar how long it takes to get through an arm, but I'm guessing it takes more time than he had.
Yeah, and both of them, like part of the mine collapses on top of them.
Yeah.
So, but they survive that collapse. Although I did like him having to pull off his own arm to do it.
Yeah, that's a dedication.
If anything, the original had a bit of a gorier ending. So
it did actually.
Yeah,
you know what? Maybe it broke there, and maybe he just had to cut through the flesh and it just popped off.
Oh, maybe. But I mean, he's still grabbing her arm. I don't know. When I broke my arm, I had trouble grasping things.
Yeah. I don't know.
And that was just a green stick fracture, so I can't imagine a full. Maybe a full. Crap, but it's crazy. I don't know. And then he somehow gets out from under the rubble, and then we get his quick change artist feel, where he gets into the guy's suit.
Oh, you know what? Another thing that they did from the original was when Harry's breaking the lights, chasing his prey. Now they do that in the remake, but at this point, the reveal of Tom. So Tom, it's actually just Tom. He's not in the Harry disguise. But every time he breaks a light, it flashes to the Harry Warden
outfit on him.
Oh, yes. I thought that.
Just for
just a
couple
flash.
frames. Yeah, they're just like single frames every time he pops a light. And I'm like, that's cool.
Great.
Yes.
That was beautiful.
It goes
I love
back
that.
to the direction. Like I said, this director really has some talent.
Yeah.
Right?
probably was my favorite moment in the whole movie.
Me too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I love that.
I'm like, oh man, why didn't you do more of that kind of shit in the movie? Like, this is awesome.
Because like we know it's sort of he's taken
so
on
much,
that persona,
yeah.
so it's like it's that flash we get to see kind of how he sees himself.
Yeah, I mean that original scene is meant to have menace, and there's just so much more when it's this like this snapped personality, and you're seeing that pop. I'm like, that was such a cool visual, and yeah, you definitely got to give it to the director on that moment. Like that was a really great choice, and yeah, Patrick Lussier. So,
and you get and then the point at the end where she's got the gun on both of them, and where she doesn't know, and finally, Axel's like, shoot us both.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to. Like that's the only way. Just shoot us both. And then she does it, and I'm like, damn it, just one in each leg, you're fine.
And the killer's not going to say that. So
yeah. But then at the other point
Axel's kind of like, well, I kind of deserve it. You're going to leave me anyway, so you might as well survive.
But when Axel, like right before Axel attacks him, and like he's like, "Are you there, Harry?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." I'm like, "Shoot him then. Just shoot, Chicky Poo. You're the one who got your husband injured." Mm-hmm. I really fully believe that.
Yeah, and I got to give it to Jensen Ackles there when. Yeah, the shift in his personality, he does it really well.
He does it very well.
Yeah, and like the fear when he sees him coming at him, really good.
Yeah. Like I said, better than the movie. Way underutilized in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they should have done more with that dual personality and some of that shifts, and of course misdirection. Well, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
That was My Bloody Valentine. If you dug that, or if you didn't, I don't know.
Well, it isn't mine, so you would have to dig it.
Yeah, okay. If you dig the mine, but you have time to tweet, you can tweet us at Invasion Remake. We're also Invasion the Remake on Facebook and invasiontheremake@gmail.com. You can certainly email us or tweet us your suggestions, comments, or corrections, and we will be up for a challenge or two. So if you got some really crazy ideas of something you think should be remade or something you want to hear us talk about.
I love the challenges. I mean, we don't when we're doing them, but we like it when we victoriously get to the end.
Yeah, some of those really hard ones, and you get through it, and we do have that sense of triumph over the film. So
sometimes, yes,
it's like we did it,
we made it,
we got through it. You can also help out the show greatly by leaving us a 5-star rating and a review over on iTunes. It really helps us out and helps other people find the show. That's what you can do to help support the show. With so many big companies now coming in and making podcasts, that's how you can help support the little guys like us who don't have these big corporations backing us and are really just doing this show out of pocket. So help people find the show, give us a 5-star rating and a review, and more people can find us. Like our friends in Norway who just came out of nowhere and started dominating our charts this week. Thank you over there in Norway. I think it was Oslo, Norway.
Oslo?
Yeah, thank you. And
on my list of places I want to go.
So thanks to them for really helping us out this month and keep spreading the word. You guys are awesome, and everybody's awesome who listens to this show. So tell everybody how to find us. If you're listening to the show already, you already know how to find us, but you can tell your friends how to find us. We are everywhere. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, Audio Boom, Player FM, and Libsyn, of course, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and a whole bunch of other places. So help your friends find the show, whatever the device they're using, and get them to subscribe so they never miss an episode. Next week, episode 75.
Yes.
And then right after that, we'll be heading into the Oscars. So we'll be doing our picks. We will have watched
all the trailers.
Because you've heard from all the skilled guys who have time to watch all these movies. Now you can hear from us. We'll watch some of them, but we'll definitely watch the trailers. And we will make our picks. We'll come up with our drinking rules. If you didn't listen last year, it is still in the archives. Go listen to last year's. It was a lot of fun. And we will be doing that again this year for this year's Oscars. And God, I think it was even worse than last year. Looking through the list, I'm like, I've seen Rogue One.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I've seen Moonlight.
I've seen a few now. I've saw one of the short subject documentaries now.
Ooh.
I've seen a couple in the animation category. Yeah, there's a couple of them are on Netflix right now. So
nice.
I watched a really depressing one about people who are basically on their deathbeds and their families having to make the decision to pull the plug or not. And so heavy. Thank God it was only like 22 minutes of bawling. So
yeah.
And then I watched a cartoon.
I hate to be that crass person, but we know the depressing ones are a good choice.
And
I made some good choices basically because the title sounded really depressing.
Yeah, when it comes to the sort subject stuff, if it's got a really depressing title, that's the one you should go for. But we don't want to get too much into that because we got a whole episode coming up in a couple of weeks.
Oh, sure.
So with that, happy Bloody Valentine. I've been Jason.
I'm Sam.
I'm Trish.
And we'll see you next week. We are out of here.
We heart you.
Bye-bye.
I'll be waiting in hell for you! Harry, I'm coming. This whole fucking town is going to die. We're coming back, you bastards! Sarah, be my bloody Valentine. Daddy, gone away.